All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Tyler, and thanks everybody for joining us today. My name is Laramie McClurg. I'm with ExamFX. ExamFX is an industry leader in insurance and securities training and pre-licensing programs. And so we work with a number of organizations across the country, a number of student organizations as well to help individuals essentially start their careers in whether it's insurance or financial services areas where we provide the training programs to help you get licensed to start those career paths. One of the partners that we work with is Farmers Insurance. And Sam, and again, apologize a little bit for the delay. We're kind of waiting for Sam to join us, and he might be hopefully jumping on here. He is our industry partner for this call and for this presentation. So he was going to talk a little bit about Farmers Insurance and sort of their hiring process and expectations for bringing people on board and getting started with a farmer's career as a farmer's agent. So hopefully Sam jumps on here or joins us to provide some of that information. But if he doesn't, if something came up where he can't, I can answer a fair number of those questions as well. And I can kind of go through a little bit of the information that he had planned to present. We've worked on a couple of other presentations together in the past for other organizations as well. So I've been doing this for a while. I've actually worked for a couple of providers, a couple of training programs. So I'm pretty familiar with all of the training programs and providers that are out there and available. I've been doing this for over a decade. I know I don't look that old, just kidding. But it's something I've been doing financial service career training, whether it's the licensing process for insurance and securities licensing, also advanced designations. I've worked on a few teams that provide the certified financial planner training designation. So as you continue your career, if you become a financial advisor, there's advanced designation programs out there as well that you can look into to kind of help you advance your careers as financial planners or those things. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and get started here with the presentation. And I'll again try to kind of work through some of this stuff. And if we get to the point where I'll talk a little bit about farmer stuff, and then from there I can open it up for question and answer. I think Tyler had mentioned you can chat in those questions as I go through some of this information. If it's something you want to chat that question in or just hold on to it, I think we have a relatively small group here, so we can kind of open it up for a question and answer at the end, or just go ahead and chat those in. So again, kind of made my introduction here. Kind of what I plan to go through from the ExamFX side is talking a little bit about the specifics of licensing and careers within insurance and securities training program. And licensing, I'm going to talk specifically about the SIE program. It's called the Securities Industries Essentials course and program that we offer. Some of what you can plan or what you'll learn through the course of our training programs and kind of how that associates with some of the licensing, the ExamFX courses and packages and programs that are out there available to you to participate in. And then again, the Farmers Insurance career information and recruiting that Sam has provided. I can kind of walk through hopefully maybe some of that at a high level, or if he joins, we can turn it over to him. But I want to start by talking about some of the careers out there. So depending upon what your major is or kind of what you're thinking about doing with your career, we work with, this is kind of would be a snapshot of the people that are utilizing our training programs and the careers that they go into. So obviously a lot of insurance agents, big bulk of what we do is on the insurance side, people becoming agents and then becoming their own agency owner groups, financial advisors, financial planners, the Northwestern Mutuals, the Fidelity Investments, the Wells Fargo Advisors, all of those groups that are getting securities licensed, bankers, investment bankers, people who are working on Wall Street require securities licensing, FINRA securities licensing as well. So all of those people are using us and utilizing our programs for kind of what they do with their careers. And so I kind of have created this infographic or this slide just to kind of help sort of understand sort of the process of licensing depending upon your career path. And again, these are all programs that we provide here at Exam FX. As you look, and I'll start on the left-hand side there with the insurance agent. So if you're considering or going into insurance, obviously the first thing you're going to focus on primarily is going to be life and health insurance licensing. So that's going to be one of the big products that you'll sell. Property and casualty is kind of the other one. And there's a number of different variations and programs that go into that, but you're typically going to be selling life and health insurance or property and casualty insurance, depending upon what who and what insurance group you go into or start to sell. A lot of insurance groups can sell and have products around securities licensing as well. So they'll typically go into and start usually an SIE and then a Series 6 and then a Series 63. So most insurance agents that aren't primarily focused on financial advising but still want to sell annuities and other things will get their Series 6, which is a variable rep level. So it's not the full-on Series 7, which is the general securities license. It's a little easier exam. And the Series 63 is the state requirement. So if you're going to sell annuities within specific states, you're typically going to be required to get your Series 6 and 63. And the SIE is the first prerequisite to getting your Series 6 and 63. So prior to 2018, the SIE wasn't the prerequisite. So you had to take your full Series 6 or Series 7. Now the SIE, FINRA has created, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute. The SIE was created in 2018 to give people an opportunity to start the licensing process without having to be sponsored by a firm. So prior to 2018, you had to get hired by, say, either a Farmers or a Northwestern Mutual and have them sponsor you to get licensed in securities. Now you can start your SIE at any point in time. The only prerequisite is that you're 18 years of age or older. So you guys could start your SIE program, complete the SIE course, and then go on and get hired and complete your Series 6 or Series 7 once you've been hired by a firm. And again, the Series 7 would be more focused for financial advisors. It's called the general securities representative. And so as you look at the middle column there, the financial advisor column, they'll typically start with securities licensing. So instead of starting with life and health licensing, or I should say insurance licensing, they'll start with FINRA licensing, and the SIE in Series 7 or the Series 63 and 66 combination. So the Series 66 is typically more focused for people who are working in RIAs or becoming investment advisors, investment advisor representatives that are getting paid to provide financial advice. So if you come to me and I'm Laramie McClurg Advisors, and I have my own broker dealer, I have my own RIA, where you're going to pay me a certain dollar amount per hour to help provide you advice. And so if you come to me, I might charge you, if I'm an investment advisor, I'm going to charge you a certain amount to come in, and I'll sit down with you and I'll provide you advice for retirement, for 401k, a number of different things that investment advisors will do. And then they can also help you make those trades and transactions and set up those 401ks and set up those retirement plans and put together a portfolio for you to invest in. So that's generally what a financial advisor will do for you. And this is generally the outline is getting your securities licensing first. Some of them will actually sell life and health insurance as well. So they'll come back and get their life and health insurance licenses once they've completed their FINRA licensing, and will provide that as a resource as well. On the far right there, again, banks, investment advisors, stockbrokers, they will get FINRA licensed as well. And so a lot of that will be a specific FINRA license, like the Series 79, which is called the investment banking representative license. And so, they'll usually start with the SIE or the Series 7, which is the general license, before they go on to get their specific, investment banking representative license. And so each one of these programs and courses does take, a pretty significant amount of time of training and studying. And some of this, depending upon what your major is and if you are going down the financial path or what your undergrad or graduate program might be will line up with some of the training that we provide, but it is specific training to help you get prepared to pass this licensing exam, whether it's a state insurance license or the national FINRA license, to be licensed to sell this stuff. So all of our programs and all of our courses are designed to train to help you test and to get you prepared to pass this test. Now, some of it you might be more familiar with, depending upon, again, what your undergraduate program is, and some of the things that you're learning within your degree might be more applicable to this. But we generally take the mindset that, we're going to teach you whatever you need to know to pass. So we don't care if, you might have been a school teacher and taught English before you came to us. So we have to teach you everything that you would need, and from scratch, to help you prepare to pass these exams and pass these licenses. And so again, insurance agencies, who's doing insurance licensing, who's looking to do state insurance licensing, and what are the products and services that you're going to be selling: life and health insurance, property and casualty insurance, disability insurance, products that would be required and that you'd be selling with FINRA, again, annuities, mutual funds, retirement plans, buying and selling specific stocks and bonds and other things that are out there. That's what's required with a FINRA securities license. And maybe I'm going to back up. I probably should put this a little further up, but FINRA stands for the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. So essentially, FINRA is like, the backbone of what goes on in the market, and they monitor, them and the SEC monitor and kind of police everything and everybody who's doing all of that stuff. And so that's why you have to get licensed, and that's why you have to pass all the background checks and everything else that goes into getting your FINRA licensing, because they essentially manage all the broker dealers and RAs that are doing all of this stuff. And so they make sure that you're tested and vetted out before you can help people and you can manage and do some of the things that require the licenses to buy, sell, trade stocks, bonds, options, all of that stuff. So again, who's doing this? Bankers, financial advisors, stockbrokers, day traders, insurance agents, and mutual will do it for selling mutual funds, annuities, and they're more focused on the Series 6, where the investment advisors are more focused with the Series 7. So hopefully that kind of have made that clear, just with regards to what you can do with the Series 6 versus the Series 7. So the vast majority of people who are getting licensed are kind of taking one of those options, whether it's the 6 or the 7. And again, the prerequisite for doing all of this is the SIE, the Securities Industries Essentials course. The SIE is the introductory level program that helps you kind of get prepared to take your rep level Series 6 or Series 7, and it is what is required by FINRA as of 2018. So the SIE, it's a great program for everybody to do. I've went through it. I don't buy, sell, or trade any of this stuff on my own, but if you plan on investing, you plan on putting, just on a personal level down the road, taking the Securities Industries Essentials is I think, a key component to kind of knowing what you're doing. Even if you're working with a financial advisor and you want to understand where your money's going, kind of where the percentages and breakdowns are when you put money into mutual funds and different things, the SIE will teach you all of that. And again, the SIE was created by FINRA to encourage more people to come into the business, because you don't have to take the full Series 6 or 7 like you used to. Anybody can take the SIE. You guys can study and test for the SIE now. It's good for 3 years, actually, 3 or 4 years after you've completed it, to go on and take your rep level exam. So even if you take it now and you're going to graduate a year or two from now, you can take this and put it on your resume and go out and talk to these financial firms. And it's going to elevate your resume to the top of the list if you've completed and taken the SIE already. And the graphic on the right is kind of a telling tale. I'm talking to students as well. What is one of the reasons for going into this business, and why did they create the SIE? Well, they created it because right now there's a high number of individuals that are going to be retiring out of the industry. So over half, or almost half of and this is actually a little bit old statistic, all of the registered reps that are working within the industry are over the age of 50. So that means in the next 10 to 15 years, all of those people are going to be retiring out, and how are they going to fill them? Who's going to take those roles, and who's going to come in and manage those books of business, and what's going to happen there? So FINRA wants to, increase the number of people who are getting these licenses and can help manage some of this stuff, because there's going to be a big opportunity. And I can't remember the statistic, but there's, over the course of, actually I might have it in here, over the course of the next, I think it's 10 years, it's estimated to be one of the highest growing industries or highest growing areas is insurance or securities licensing specific. So again, who's taking the SIE? A lot of insurance agent, financial advisors, anybody who's basically looking to get securities licensed. The SIE, specifically our program, kind of is broken down into 4 study areas. So what happens in the markets, so the capital markets, what you're selling within those markets, so the products you're selling. So again, annuities, mutual funds, some of those things, and the risks that are associated with investing in those areas. Working with customers, how do you work with your customers and set up their accounts, and some of the prohibited activities there. And then just the overall regulatory framework. How is FINRA set up? How is the SEC set up? How are the different markets set up? That's really what is broken down into the 4 levels of the SIE program. We have 11 chapters in our SIE course. You can kind of see how they're broken down here. With our program, we offer live online study. So we have classes every Monday and Tuesday where you can participate, pretty similar structure to what you're seeing here, where you can ask questions. We have an instructor that works through the slide decks and teaches you specific topics, and we offer those again every Monday and Tuesday from 10 to 5 Central Standard Time. And all of those classes are recorded as well. So if you couldn't attend the class, you can come back and watch the recording of those classes. Or most likely what will happen is, as you attend the class and you're working through the class with the instructor, you'll find something to be very valuable that you want to come back and revisit as you're getting prepared to take those exams. So that's one of the benefits with our live online training programs. We also offer a whole series of on-demand videos that are focused on specific topics as you work through the program and study. We have a lot of tools. We have diagnostic exams that you can work through. We have our online practice questions and things that you'll work through, online flashcards that are going to help you be prepared for the exam. And really what I tell students is everybody kind of studies different. Some people are going to be more acclimated to attend the live online sessions where they can interact with the instructor. Some students are going to be more focused on just watching the on-demand videos when they have time and working through those. Some are just going to read and highlight, and some are going to spend a lot of time in the question banks because they get a lot more out of taking the questions and taking a number of exams to help them prepare. So every student's a little different. Really you have to figure out what works best for you and which tools really help you understand the content and curriculum, because really at the end of the day, all it boils down to is how do you prepare, and how do you know, how do you understand the content that you're going to need to know to pass these exams? There's no way around the fact that you have to learn this stuff in order to pass the exam and get these licenses to take on these careers. And so utilizing all the different tools that we have available within the ExamFX programs will help you do that. And again, all of this stuff, we do this for both insurance and securities licensing. So whether you're getting your state insurance license or your, the national FINRA exams with securities, we offer online classes. We offer all the on-demand videos and the practice questions and everything for all of our programs and study packages. So just to kind of recap, one of the benefits of going through and doing the SIE now is you can add it to your resume. It'll help you as you're connecting with recruiting firms. Then you'll be more prepared to go and take that rep level exam once you get hired, and really kick off your career. And it really jumpstarts as you get started with the licensing process with that program. So that's a high level overview sort of ExamFX and just the licensing process and the licensing required as well. I do not see that Sam has joined us, so I will do my best farmers recruitment pitch for you guys. So farmers, they work with a number of different insurance life providers out there. So you can sell different life insurance providers as you work for farmers. I know that's kind of a confusing concept. I'm not sure I understand how all of it works when they start to sell and pitch different insurance programs and products within their Farmers availability, but again, Farmers does auto, home, commercial. They will do 401ks and 529 plans and variable life products as well. So that's why they do securities licensing. So obviously, if you're a Farmers agent, if you work in New York or you work in Kansas or you work in Wisconsin, you're going to have to get the state insurance licenses to be able to do that. But then also, they encourage people to go and they typically do their Series 6 or Series 63 to be able to sell variable life products or work with retirement plan options as well. The universal life, I'm not going to really speak to this a whole lot because I've never really sold or do universal life. Obviously, I'm not a Farmer's agent, but he would probably talk a little bit about how they outline and define their universal life products and programs. They do have some mentorship programs, and I have Sam's contact information on here. So if you guys are looking for or want to know more about the mentorship program, you could probably shoot Sam an email and see what's available out there. They have a lot of different roles, whether it's within finance or risk management. They have their own financial services group as well, where they're a little bit more focused on investment advising within Farmers Financial Services. They have a lot of roles in sales and distribution. So, within Farmers, I will say that you don't have to just be a Farmers insurance agent. There's a lot of different roles and responsibilities out there that require people, and they will require an insurance or securities license as well to do some of this stuff, but you don't have to just be out there selling insurance. There's different roles within there. So that's really my Farmers pitch for you at a high level. Here you can see Sam's contact information is pretty straightforward. It's sam@farmersagent.com. My contact information is simply laramie.mcclurg@examfx.com. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. And if you do want to start an SIE program, we have a great discount set up for any Delta Sigma students. It's simply Delta Sigma Pi at examfx.com. So if you go to our website, examfx.com, and you click register on a course or a program that you want to start, and you put that discount code in, it'll ask you and say, do you have a special company discount? If you put that in, Delta Sigma Pi at examfx.com, you'll get it's a pretty solid discount. I think it's like 40 or 50% off any of our courses. So go ahead and utilize that. If you have any questions on any of the courses or programs at all, again, I can be a resource for you, and I can be helpful, hopefully, in any way. I don't know if there are any questions that got chatted in. I think
I'm not seeing any questions. If you have any questions for Laramie, please feel free to unmute yourself or to type something in the chat. I'm not seeing anything currently.
That's okay. And I get it. You guys are probably on here just kind of taking it all in. I think one of the biggest reasons we do this, and we've been doing this with other organizations and student groups around, is I wish I would have known more about this when I was in school. And I think, there's, and maybe everybody on this call is well aware of all of the licensing needed to start some of these careers, but I know I wasn't when I came out of school or was, doing some of the looking into the career options. So understanding some of the licensing needs that go into it, that you do have some requirements and there are training programs to help you with those licensing needs, I guess is the goal here. And if you do want to start some of these, or you get hired, or you're looking to get hired, the SIE program is a great one to kind of start learning about what goes into it, and you can do those now before you get hired with anyone. That would be my recommendation. Otherwise, know that the licensing needs are out there, know that there's resources available to you, and there are a lot of recruitment firms out there as well looking for qualified candidates like Sam. And I'm not sure why, if maybe Sam got pulled into another recruitment effort today, but Farmers is a great organization overall. So take that for what it's worth. But I appreciate your guys' time today. I don't know if
Laramie, we did have one question come in.
Sure.
Here from Sylvia. If the long plan is to be a financial advisor, but coming from the insurance column, you recommend Series 6 or 7 or both? And what is the difference between Series 63 and 66?
Yep, great questions. So I'm going to try to back up here to, so typically, and again, it'll probably vary based upon who you end up working for, but the vast majority of insurance focused organizations. So if you look at, like Farmers, you look at even Northwestern Mutual, which is a little bit more insurance heavy, Allstate, State Farm, all of those insurance organizations are recommending it and typically use us for the Series 6 and 63, just because they can sell, you'll typically be able to sell and use those licenses for whatever products and services those organizations have. And it is a little easier license to get. You don't need to have the full Series 7, which is a tougher exam, but then you can do more with it once you have the Series 7. But that is why more of the investment focused organizations like Fidelity Investments, like Wells Fargo Advisors, like the banks, and more of the investment focused will require the Series 7. In the Series 66, so the difference between the 63 and the 66 is the 63 is just the state requirement for you to work and to be able to sell within your state. And so it's a little easier exam. That it's probably the easiest out of all of them because it's pretty short and it just has some state requirements in it. The Series 66 will actually give you a license in order to become an investment advisor as well. So the 66 covers you for the Series 63 for some of those state requirements, but then it also gives you the availability to charge per hour for an investment advisor. So that's built into that license where you can then call yourself an investment advisor or charge that fee for giving investment advice. That's what's rolled into the 66. So not to confuse you anymore, but there's also a Series 65, which is just for people that want to become an investment advisor. The Series 65 is tailored to and just is the requirement to do that. And so the 66 is essentially a combination of the Series 65 and the Series 63 because it gives you the state licenses required to buy, sell, trade, but then it also gives you the investment advisor component where you can charge a fee to give advice to people on investments. Hopefully that answered that question. I know it can be a little bit of a confusing thing to kind of break down, but the other thing I would tell you guys, and it's pretty, you probably already know it, but Investopedia does a pretty good job of breaking this stuff down as well. So if you want to just understand the specifics of a license, go to Investopedia and just type in what's the Series 66. It'll probably lay it out better than I just did for you. Or the Series 65 or the Series 6. It'll kind of give you a broad breakdown and describe it. They've got some nice videos that kind of walk you through it. It's a great resource if you're not familiar with it. So that'd be my other recommendation.
Laramie, we had a question to also take a look at the difference for the Series 79.
So the Series 79 is really focused on what you can do with investment banking. So investment banking is kind of like this other subset of very specific, what you can do with it and kind of what you can sell with it. If you're interested in getting into investment banking, I would probably look at who hires investment bankers, TD Bank or TD Ameritrade are the ones that are, specific to investment banking or the high level portfolios that do that, and kind of what it is. I don't know the specifics of what the products and services are that the investment banking license sells, but I do know that some of the prerequisites around it typically require Series 7 before you can get your Series 79, and what you can sell with it. But it is, again, more focused just on, who or what they do within the bank services unit of it. And it's not typically as broad and as general as what insurance agents and financial advisors do. That helps.
Great. Any last questions for Laramie?
Well, appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you very much, Tyler. And thank you, everybody. Again, I will scroll down here to my contact information if you have any questions or you're looking to start a program or just interested in training in general, please reach out. Laramie.mcclure@examfx.com. Again, we do have some discounted pricing set up for any Delta Sig with Delta Sigma Pi at examfx.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Larry. We appreciate the time, and thank you all for joining us for today's program. Enjoy. Have a great day.
Thanks.